Hello, Rory here, and just going to wait for a couple of minutes just to make sure some people arrive. If you're watching, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know as well, that you can hear me, because I had a couple of microphone issues earlier today that my good friend Jamie tried to help me work out. But in the interim, I'm using my phone with a different microphone, so hopefully that works all right. Feel free to pop me a thumbs up or something if you can hear what I'm saying. That always helps. That's a thumb. I saw one. Fantastic. So, obviously, tonight is Q&A. It's all about rapid inductions, instant hypnosis, how to hypnotize people and doing it quickly, hopefully. The only thing is that I don't have anything whatsoever planned to tell you, so feel free to lead this Q&A by asking me some questions. I've got my computer just here and I'm having a look at the comments. So far it's Ed saying, "Hey Rory." Hey Ed, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well with the strength training as well. Keep it up. Fantastic. But yeah, this is all about rapid inductions, and I will start talking about rapid inductions as soon as I get some questions about rapid inductions. Actually, while I'm waiting for those questions to flood in from you guys on the comments, I do have a couple of questions that some people have emailed me with earlier. So I'll answer those while I'm waiting for you guys to post loads and loads of questions about rapid inductions and how to hypnotize fast. First question is from Fiona Reed, and it was that she's intrigued because she understands how progressive inductions work and how conversational trance states are started, and she experienced a quick induction through her NLP training, but that was at the end of a day of hypnosis. Usually is on NLP courses. And so very receptive to suggestion at that point already, having been in and out of trance, whether formally or conversationally all day. I'm adding a little bit into the question there. How can a person instantly be led from, say, 0 to 10, as in 0 being not in any way hypnotized whatsoever, through to 10 being instantly hypnotized, instantly or very quickly? That inspires me because the term instant induction and rapid induction are often used interchangeably, and a lot of people think, for some reason, probably because they're just there, that they are two different things. However, for me personally, I would use them interchangeably, instant induction and rapid induction, because they kind of mean the same thing. Instant is fairly rapid, and rapid things can happen in an instant. If you want to break it down into a definition of why instant inductions and rapid inductions are different, I know, Fiona, this isn't your question, but I thought I'd talk about it anyway because it's a really nice little addition. I would say an instant induction, for me personally, I'm sure there are people out there who might disagree with me, an instant induction for me would be anything under 3 seconds. Maybe. Let's use that. 3 seconds. That's pretty quick. So if you're going out and you're doing an arm pull induction, if you're doing the handshake, hand to the face induction, the hand drop, the 8-word induction, depends how quickly you can say those 8 words, it might be 3 seconds. Fantastic. Anything sub 3 seconds, I would probably, if I had to, define it as an instant induction, although I'd probably call it a rapid induction personally, because that's the term that I use personally more frequently. And then a rapid induction for me would be anything between 3 seconds up to 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe a minute if we're taking our time over it. Obviously, very, very different, very different to a progressive induction. And for me, a progressive induction can take a minute or two, it can take 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes if I'm feeling like that person really needs a decent amount of time going into hypnosis to settle themselves into that state. Going back to Fiona's questions about how a person can instantly be put into that state of hypnosis, or whether, I guess, they can be put into that state of hypnosis without any pre-preparation, without having been hypnotized before. it is entirely possible. I frequently have people come along to my rapid induction courses who've never been hypnotized. They've never even met a hypnotist. They just kind of like, hey, there's a hypnotist, let's go see that guy. And they come along, and the very first rapid induction that we do, they go into hypnosis. And the same thing with hypnotherapy clients, as if you are a hypnotherapist, or for hypnotherapists who use rapid inductions will know that if your client is suggestible enough, they will definitely accept the suggestion to go into hypnosis very, very quickly. However, on the flip side, and the reason why it's a good idea to learn a broad range of inductions, is that some people respond less well to rapid inductions, or some people need a little bit more time to prepare or to get used to being in hypnosis, because some people go into a really light state of hypnosis, and therefore a rapid induction may or may not be suitable for that person. If you have someone who is really highly suggestible, so if you're doing suggestibility tests like magnetic hands and their hands come together really, really quickly under like 10, 15 seconds, or even, to be fair, so long as their hands move to some extent, they're likely to be an okay candidate or a good candidate for being hypnotized really quickly. The suggestibility testing, that's why I teach it on all of my rapid induction and my stage hypnosis courses, because it's really important. It gives you all important information about that person that you're going to hypnotize, whether they accept those suggestions or whether they are resistant in some way. And if you have someone who's resistant, whatever induction you choose to use is probably going to work less well than if they weren't being resistant. So testing suggestibility, Fiona, super, super important, so that you know that person is going to be receptive. If you do one of the suggestibility tests, such as, let's go with the magnetic hands example again, and they're stood there like that for the whole time, and their hands don't move at all, I would personally not use a rapid induction with them in that session or at that time, just because they're probably not ready for it at that time. So maybe a more progressive type induction would be better. I'm not saying you can't still hypnotize them fast, because there are a lot of hypnotherapists out there, especially, who do really, really long hypnotic inductions and take anything from 10, 15, 20, I've heard of even 40 minutes of rapid, of non-rapid, very non-rapid induction, so progressive induction that lasts forever. That is not necessary. You can do a progressive induction in just a couple of minutes, it works really well. But it's all about checking with that person to make sure beforehand that they are suitable for being hypnotized quite quickly. You could even do something a bit less instant, maybe erring on the side of kind of a minute, something like that, with an eye fixation induction. You could do the more longer-winded rapid inductions. For me personally, again, talking about the magnetic hand suggestibility test, the magnetic hands induction gives people an opportunity to settle into receiving suggestions from you, and when their hands then begin to move, it's kind of a convincer for them. And when you then give them the suggestion to sleep, they've already accepted the suggestions for their hands to move and all the other things that you've asked them to do. So it can work fantastically well. So that was a very long-winded answer to your question, how you can hypnotize someone instantly, taking them from zero to hypnotized in one go, even if they've not experienced hypnosis before. Yes, you can. No, it won't necessarily work with everybody, but that's what happens when you learn how to do rapid inductions. You learn how to do it properly. You will know when to use rapid inductions with people, or when it might benefit them to use them a bit later on in your hypnosis or hypnotherapy process. Something fell over in my kitchen. Wow, that's crazy. So, good question. Sorry it took so long to answer, because I really do love the sound of my voice. I hope you like the sound of my voice too. Next question. I've got some comments. Fantastic. Caroline Champion, do you think rapid inductions, it just moved, are as effective of doing it more slowly? Sometimes it's good to take your time over things, as many people will agree, in many different areas. And other times, quick and punchy is the order of the day. So I wouldn't necessarily say that rapid inductions or progressive inductions are as effective. It depends, again, on the person that you're hypnotizing, on the situation that you're hypnotizing them in, and why you're hypnotizing them. So if you have someone who's coming to you and they haven't got a lot of time for your hypnotherapy session, let's say, and you've got like half an hour with them in total to do everything, a rapid induction would probably be a very good idea at that stage, because if you're doing a 20-minute induction, then you're not going to have much time left to do any therapy work with them. in that situation. Conversely, if you have someone who's coming to you for stress management, let's say, and they have a really stressful life, and they've got, busy work life, they've got the kids at home, they've got activities that they've got to do, maybe they don't get an opportunity to relax. And that relaxation for them can be something very useful and therapeutic in and of itself. If you're stressed all day long, coming to a hypnotherapist and just getting an opportunity to sit and be and relax for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, for however long, would be fantastic for that kind of client. And again, if you've got someone who's coming to you for pain management, and if they're in a lot of pain at the time, try getting them to relax while they're there in the chair experiencing pain. It's less likely to happen well for them because they're still focused on that internal experience, and you're just asking them to focus more on their internal experience, like, I'm relaxing apart from that area that's in pain. Whereas if you use something more rapid, even something very standard like an eye fixation induction, which is a lot shorter than a standard progressive induction, it also has an external focus. So they're looking and being aware of something outside of themselves. So that can be very helpful to get them away from their pain trance and into your trance. So hopefully, Caroline, that answers your question. You said thank you, so I assume so. Well done. Ed Booker, again, Ed Hogg in the comments, love it. What is the best rapid induction in your opinion? Ooh, I like that question because my answer is always the magnetic hands induction. I like the magnetic hands induction personally. I wouldn't necessarily say that's because it's the best, it's just the one I like the best. It will come down to your own personality, it will come down to your own delivery style, it will come down to your experience trying different rapid inductions with the people that you hypnotize and seeing how they work, because you will naturally go for the ones that work best for you as many times as possible. So if you do the 8-word, the hand drop induction a few times and it works every time, this is my favorite induction because it works every time, right? I like the magnetic hands induction because I frequently, always use suggestibility tests, and the mag hand suggestibility test is one that I use a lot. It lends itself really well to then using the magnetic hands induction because they're already used to that process. They kind of know what's going to happen. They've already done it once before, and also that makes it an even bigger shock when you do the shock part of the magnetic hands induction. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, there are some demonstrations on my YouTube channel. Just pop on YouTube and go to Rory Z Hypnotist. You will find videos of the magnetic hands induction in action. Or, as I'm going to talk about a little bit later on, I do have a rapid induction course coming up next Saturday, and the trains are running, which is fantastic. The trains were meant to be cancelled because they were having a nationwide strike. And then the Queen, RIP, oh, rest in peace, that's the word, yeah, fantastic. The Queen dying, all of that happening, it's really unfortunate, it's really sad. The one positive for me that's come out of it is just that they have cancelled the train strike. So if you would like to come along and learn some rapid inductions, you will be able to join me on the train. So what was I saying? Yes, favourite rapid induction. That's right. Magnetic hands induction, that is my absolute favourite. But I do use other ones, just, when the mood takes me, or when I feel that someone needs a different type of induction. If someone needs a really good shock, then I'll maybe use an arm pull induction. And that can be so quick. It's ridiculous how quick that can be. Like, it's instant. It's definitely instant, under maybe 1 second if you're doing it quick enough. Also, handshake interrupt inductions. They are fantastic as well. So that would be my answer to Ed's question. Let me just say, I have some links somewhere. There you go. That's the one. I've got a wobbly camera thing. I've just popped a link somewhere. I assume you'll see it. I haven't used that one before, that little button. But that's a link to my rapid induction course that's coming up. So feel free to grab a place on that and come and train with me in person and learn how to hypnotize really quick. I'm going to take a moment because I'm getting a little hot. I'm talking really quick. Let me just have a little drink. Let me read some more questions just while I do that. I'll drink as loudly as possible. Frankie Laverty. Hi, Rory. Hi, Frankie. Nice to see you. Online. Right, Simon Grint. I'm running out of questions, so feel free to pop more questions in there. I think this is the last question I've got in the chat. Any questions about rapid hypnosis or hypnotizing fast, or even just doing hypnosis? Feel free. Hey, pop them in. Why not? We're here. We can answer some questions. I know you said Rupert Grint. That would be weird if he was here. Simon Grint. Do you have a favoured suggestibility test to ascertain whether an instant or confusion induction is most suited to the client? Kind of answered it to some extent, in that yes, magnetic hand suggestibility test, again, that is my favourite. It's one that I will usually use, but I will use that after using the magnetic fingers suggestibility test. Magnetic fingers suggestibility test, if you haven't done it, heard of it, is really quick, really easy, something that takes just like 30 seconds if you're doing it really well. And the idea with the magnetic fingers suggestibility test is that you're not testing how suggestible someone is, you're testing whether they're being resistant in any way. And that's something that you need to know as early on as possible in your hypnosis process, because if someone is resisting hypnosis, no matter how good a hypnotist you are or a hypnotherapist you are, they're probably not going to accept all of the suggestions or any of the suggestions that you give them. Because after all, as I'm sure most of you probably know already, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, even if you're being hypnotized by somebody else, like a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist or even a stage hypnotist. If you don't want to go into hypnosis, you won't go into hypnosis. If you don't want to accept and act upon a suggestion, you're not going to do that. And the same is true of hypnotherapy as well. If you have someone who comes for a hypnotherapy session and they've been sent by a friend or a partner or a loved one because they think, oh, you should go for hypnotherapy to stop smoking, for example, and the person, the client, doesn't actually want to do that thing, but they're going to, make whoever happy, then you're less likely to have success. If you're a hypnotherapist, I'm sure you can probably agree with me that those clients are generally a pain in the ass. Just because they don't want that change. It's someone else who wants it for them. So resistance, super, super important to check. And the magnetic finger suggestibility test will instantly give you that piece of information. There are also some other techniques that you can use, especially in therapy, to check whether someone is serious about actually wanting to proceed with the therapy process. But we're not really talking about that now. For more info on that, feel free to check out my hypnotherapy book. So hopefully that answers your question, Simon, but there are many other suggestibility tests. And it really, if you're looking for a test to check whether they're going to respond well to a rapid induction, rather than using kind of visualization style tests like the lemon suggestibility test, where you do it, they do it all in their imagination. And obviously the primary, if you haven't heard of it, it's not obvious. The primary idea with the lemon test is you're kind of getting an idea about their modality preferences, whether they're more visual or more auditory or more kinesthetic, feelings based. So that doesn't really help you so much with rapid induction suitability. Anything physical, so the magnetic hands test, the bucket and balloon test. You could even do the eye lock test, which a lot of people use as a convincer in hypnosis and suggesting that their eyes are stuck and they can't move them. You can do hand levitations, you can do hand locks, you can do arm locks. There are so many different suggestibility tests, down to your preference, down to what you feel your client will be able to do and what they're comfortable doing as well. If you've got a client whose hands are, out like this and they're uncomfortable, their shoulders hurt, holding their arms out like that, then it's not going to be the best thing for them. You can change suggestibility tests, you can change the positioning of people in order to make them more comfortable and more effective. That's also something that I teach on my rapid induction course. And if anyone comes along to my rapid induction course and they have an issue or they have an injury or a dodgy shoulder or elbow, that kind of thing, then you'll learn very quickly how to adapt your processes in order to figure out what's going to work best for them. Hopefully that answers your question, Simon. You've posted another question. I'll answer it now. Why not? Does the rapid induction course include rapid deepening options? Yes, it does. I did not ask him to ask that question so I could plug my rapid induction course, but I'll do it anyway. During the rapid induction course, it's a full day thing, 9:30. I say full day, most things start at 9. I like 9:30 because bed is great. Sleeping is good, not just the hypnosis sleep, but the real sleep too. And hypnosis isn't sleep, for those of you who are wondering. There's a great blog about that somewhere, about myths about hypnosis. So Yes, starting at 9:30. My brain just went off somewhere. It went to bed. Starting at 9:30. Everyone who comes onto my courses come from different backgrounds. So I have people who are already hypnotherapists coming along to get practice hypnotizing fast and to learn some new techniques they can use with their clients. Also, something that happens with hypnotherapists, I don't really know why, is that confidence seems to drop a bit after their initial training. Not always, but sometimes. And rapid induction training, just going up to people, and putting them straight into hypnosis is a fantastic way to boost your confidence as a hypnotherapist. And that's what many hypnotherapists say after the course. Like, I got so much confidence from this. I'm just going to go down and hypnotize everyone. It's fantastic. So yeah, hypnotherapists come along. Even people who've been doing it for years and years and years. There are always things you can learn. Even if you do rapid inductions already, there are always ways that you can refine them. If you look back at my first book, the Instant Hypnosis and Rapid Inductions Guidebook, which I wrote back in 2013, I then rewrote it in 2018 because I completely changed the way in which I did rapid inductions. I made them work better. And again, in 2021 or two, one. Yeah, let's go one. And then the third edition. The third edition is way more intricate, has loads of little tweaks and things that show you that you can get even more from these rapid inductions that can be done very, very simply and basically, or you add little elements and make them even more effective for the most people. I have no idea where I was going with that. Yeah, something like, who could come? Yes, so hypnotherapists come along. I get some people, less people, but still some people who want to do stage hypnosis. There are less people who want to do stage hypnosis than hypnotherapy. Also people who are just interested in hypnosis in general. And it's definitely a skill that anyone can learn. You don't need any prior experience to learn rapid inductions and to become very proficient at using rapid inductions and hypnotizing people. I did a 6-hour one-to-one, 5-hour one-to-one with someone, and he went away and immediately hypnotized a very pessimistic member of his family who he'd never done hypnosis before in his life, and he was like, what, that's absolutely amazing, you taught me this in like 5 hours. So what's covered? We talk about the basics of hypnosis. We explain hypnosis so everyone gets to the same level of understanding so we can move forward from that point. Even if you're already experienced, it does clarify a few things as well. We then cover suggestibility tests, all of the different ones that I was just talking about, we cover on the rapid induction course. And then all afternoon is spent doing rapid inductions, the magnetic hands induction, the butterfly fingers, for some of you who've been to the course, which is like, please don't do that. The butterfly fingers induction, the hand drop induction, the handshake interrupt induction, which is popular with NLP people as well. I tend to do it quicker than most of those guys do. And by the end of the afternoon, you're fully zonked out in hypnosis, feeling fantastic and having hypnotized a whole load of people. So that is coming next weekend. It's the 17th of September. I also have a course, if you can't make it to that one, in Edinburgh in Scotland. It's the first time I'm going back there for quite a while, on the 10th of December. So if you're up that way, then I'll be there. Hopefully that answered your question, Simon, about what's covered on the Rapid Inductions course. Sophie Cadner, hello Rory and everybody. Hi Sophie, thanks for coming. Leo Baradine, a fantastic stage hypnotist, I love that guy. Hey mate, looking good. What was the phrase you used for abreaction? You can't ask me that question. If you ever have somebody have an abreaction, if you've ever read my book or been to any of my courses, it's something that I repeat. I'm surprised Leo doesn't remember it in its entirety because he's heard it enough times. Allow the scene to fade. Focus on your breathing. You're safe here with me. Repeat that phrase. And an abreaction is if somebody is doing something in hypnosis that you haven't suggested or that you aren't expecting them to do. So if you're hypnotizing someone and during your induction process, when you're not doing any other suggestion, right, and they start to, cry or laugh or shake or do something weird, that's what you would do. You suggest they fade the scene, allow the scene to fade. They focus on something that is happening in the here and now, which is their breathing, because their eyes are closed anyway. So the only thing they can really focus on is what their body is doing. So breathing is a great way to ground people, to bring them back and to let them know that they are safe, they are here with you. Repeating that a couple of times authoritatively rather than giving it a nice Ericksonian drifty floaty feel. Allow the scene to fade. Focus on your breathing. You're safe here with, that's creepy. Allow the scene to fade. Focus on your breathing. You're safe here with me. And you repeat it in that way. And you will notice that they will bring themselves back to your voice, they will calm down, and then, depending on what it is that you're doing, you can choose to continue that process with them if they're happy to do so, or you could end the process. It's entirely up to you. Hopefully, Leo, that helps. Let's scroll down some questions while I get a little beverage. It's not vodka, it's water. Wink. No, it's water. Simon, we did Simon's questions. Luca Gatti. Hi, Rory. When using rapid inductions with strangers, like in the street or public places, how do you know who will be more responsive to it? Are there any specific clues that you look for? Suggestibility tests. Yeah. It's pretty much just down to suggestibility tests. You can hypnotize the majority of people. Most people are able to be hypnotized. Maybe some fraction of a percent of people may not go into hypnosis, or may go, and there are some people who go into a very light state of hypnosis and they're not sure if it is hypnosis or not. And for some people, hypnosis feels very subjectively different to other people. Some people will feel, like for instance, if you just watching this now, if it's safe for you to do so, just take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. I'm not going to hypnotize you. Just close your eyes and breathe out. Take another nice deep breath. And exhale. And that thing that you're experiencing at that last moment is what a lot of people feel hypnosis is like. It's where things around you can kind of quieten and become less important, but you're still aware of where you are and what you're doing or not doing. And you're listening, you're focused on the voice, the person that's talking to you, the hypnotist. So for some people, that's all hypnosis feels like. For other people, and the people who are really suggestible, they have a slightly different experience, and it may feel more all-encompassing. It may feel that they are fully relaxed, their entire body is relaxed, their mind just clears, or conversely, their mind wanders and they're kind of drifting off. Some people are really visual and they'll experience seeing and imagining things as you're saying them as the hypnotist. Other people are just focused on your voice. I've gone off tangent a little tiny bit because Luca's question was about how to tell whether someone is going to be suggestible, but it really is a subjective thing. And there are some people who suggest that you can see, this person will be suggestible because X, Y, Z. Look at their body language. They're obviously going to be suggestible. Look at the suit he's wearing. Obviously, whatever the reasoning for it. I don't tend to subscribe to that because I've hypnotized a lot of people, and quite frankly, you never really know how suggestible or how hypnotizable someone is going to be until you try and do it, or until you do it. Don't try, just do it. So suggestibility tests, though, are a fantastic way to get your foot in the door and figure out who is likely to be the most responsive, but there are other factors at play as well. It's not just black and white. There are always grey areas with hypnosis. So although someone may respond really well to a suggestibility test, that might mean they're fantastically suggestible. But on the other side of it, they may think, I really don't want to get hypnotized today on the street because what if he makes me do this, X, Y, Z? So at that point, though they're suggestible, they may be resistant because they don't want to go into hypnosis in that situation. On the other side, it may be that you do a suggestibility test and they're not responding, but they really want to respond. And it can sometimes be kind of counterintuitive because the more you consciously try to do something, the harder it tends to be. Like consciously go now and tie your shoelaces. Think about every single step of tying your shoelaces. It becomes very difficult. Whereas if you just bend down and go blah, 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 then they're tied. And the same kind of thing with hypnosis. If you're trying too hard, sometimes it can be difficult to get away from your thoughts in order to go into hypnosis. You're trying too hard to make it happen rather than letting it happen. So all of these different factors can be at play when you are hypnotizing somebody. It's really just a case of doing your suggestibility test, checking how well somebody responds to those things, looking at the rapport that you have with that person. If you really don't like, the person who's going to hypnotize you, are you going to let them hypnotize you? I know I probably wouldn't. He's like, well, you're a dick. You're not going to mess with my mind, right? Also, even before that, before doing your suggestibility tests, your pre-talk is a fantastically important, nay, integral part of your hypnosis process. You need to make that person comfortable enough with you as a hypnotist and with the hypnosis process that they will buy into it, as not that you're selling something that they need convincing about because it's not true, all of these myths. But people have their own ideas about what hypnosis is, and other people have told them that when you're hypnotized, you will not remember anything that happens. When you're hypnotized, you will be made to do ridiculous stuff, and you'll be walking down the street naked, and all of those things. And it's about dispelling those myths in a way that educates that person, so that they are then happy to go into hypnosis, and they're happy to let you be their guide and take them into hypnosis. So hopefully, Luca, although there wasn't a direct, specific answer, that helps you know what you need to do in order to go out and find some people who are hypnotizable. And if you're doing street stuff, if you're just going out to do hypnosis for entertainment purposes, you don't need to be able to hypnotize everybody. And that's something that people globally, or people on the whole, think maybe that hypnotists can hypnotize anybody, and even that rapid inductions are like a magic wand, or a magic spell that you just click your fingers in front of somebody's face and they go, and they're instantly asleep, or whatever it is that they believe. But it's unfortunately not true. If it was true, would I be here teaching you how to do it? I'd be ruling the world, obviously. So it is really different, on a subjective, person-by-person basis. So you really just need to figure out whether that person is ready to go into hypnosis, whether they're happy to go into hypnosis, and whether you are the person to hypnotize them. So there you go. So thanks for that question, Luca. And where are we now in that? We've got Simon again. Thank you, Rory. Sweet. Cheers, Simon. Leo. Leo again, thanks. Forgot about the focus on your breathing. Oh, don't forget about the focus on your breathing. That's important. Samantha Jane. Hey, Rory, looking forward to seeing you in Scotland. Rock and roll. See you there. Simon again. Ooh, how would you normally test depth of trance, such as, i.e., for getting a number, etc.? Testing for depth of trance, it's not something that I will go out to do specifically. Looking how deep someone is, kind of on a scale. There are scales that you can use in order to test how deep someone is. The Aaron's scale is just one that comes to mind, and it's a 6-stage scale where you're looking to incrementally build up in the different types of hypnotic phenomena that you are doing with your client. And it starts off with small muscle group catalepsy, so like an eye lock. So you give the suggestions that their eyes won't open. If they don't, fantastic, move to the next one. And the next one is large muscle group catalepsy, which is stiff arm, for example. And then if you give them suggestions their arm is stiff and they try and bend it and they can't bend their arm, fantastic. Then you move up to the next level again. And after that comes amnesia, as you said there in your question, Simon. And you test that they either forget their name, or forget a number, or forget anything, whatever it is. The most common one is a number block, so removing a number, or as in the Dave Ellman induction, which a lot of you are probably familiar with, is suggesting that they count down from a specific number, 300 for example, and they then begin to forget numbers, and as soon as that happens, you can then proceed with the rest of that induction process, as with the Dave Ellman induction. And that's very directive and authoritarian in its delivery. After you have achieved amnesia, then you go on to test for anesthesia or analgesia, whichever one you prefer, and that's pain reduction, or the reduction of sensation. That's often done with a pinch on the back of someone's arm. After that, the more difficult one, so it's progressively more difficult for people to achieve, and generally the more depth there is, the more stuff that they can achieve. After you have done the anesthesia, the analgesia, you would then go to positive hallucinations, which would be seeing something that isn't there, such as seeing me right now wearing a pink hat. You know, that's a positive hallucination because you're adding something in. A negative hallucination is the final step on the ladder, and that's removing something, like that picture on the wall right there. If you were hypnotized, you did a negative hallucination, you might imagine that picture wasn't there and just see a solid wall of color. And for the majority of people, that's one of the most difficult types of phenomena for anyone to achieve. So you can do that kind of thing. For me personally, in terms of testing trance, whether it's hypnotherapy, whether it's stage hypnosis or street hypnosis, what I do is I get people to do stuff. And I get them to, do things that I can see whether they're responding or not. And I will get people to talk to me in hypnosis, because people can do that. You can give them a suggestion that as you talk in hypnosis, it will take you even deeper. Every word that you say will help you to relax even more, or something like that. A lot of people think that they can't talk in hypnosis. They have to sit stock still in hypnosis, otherwise they'll break it. And that's another thing that comes into the pre-talk, is letting people know that hypnosis is, it's a very flexible state, and it's not a fragile state. You can move, you can scratch your nose if you've got an itch, you can if you've got a bit of a tickly throat, that kind of stuff. So when they know that they can do that, which is all down to you informing them, then it makes the hypnosis process a lot more effective. And the same with talking in hypnosis. So I like to test my work, whether it's hypnotherapy, whether it's entertainment style hypnosis, get them to do stuff. And if it's stage and street hypnosis, start with simpler suggestions that don't rely on the complex phenomena that I was just talking about. You're not immediately going to hypnotize someone and then get them to hallucinate that everyone in the audience is completely naked, like they're wearing X-ray glasses. That's one of the routines that a stage hypnotist will leave towards the end of the show, because they know that that takes a bit more work for the people and a bit more depth and acceptance of previous suggestions in order to follow that type of suggestion. So that's why frequently in stage hypnosis shows you'll see people who are sat with their eyes closed, because that's a great way to start deepening trance without getting them to open their eyes very early on, playing a musical instrument, or watching an imaginary film and laughing their heads off, or smelling the person next to them and thinking it smells weird. All of those things that are relatively simple to do, eyes closed, and then build up gradually. Start them off seated with their eyes closed, then get them, once they're definitely hypnotized and responding, to open their eyes while seated and then respond. And then you could get them to stand up after they've responded, and they can do some stuff standing right in front of their chair, and then they can move around. All of that kind of stuff I teach on my stage hypnosis training. It's not something I cover on my rapid hypnosis training, because I get so many different people who are coming along, and a lot of people there for hypnotherapy. But if you are interested in learning stage hypnosis, I do have an upcoming course. That's a bit later. It's on the 3rd and 4th of December in London. And that's a great way. You'll learn rapid inductions. The rapid induction course is the first day of that 2-day course, so you'll learn exactly the same stuff. But on the second day, you'll learn how to have fun with hypnosis, and also how to develop different types of hypnotic suggestion, and actually hypnotize people, and hypnotize a group of people and give them suggestions and see how everyone responds. Again, even if you're a hypnotherapist, it's a fantastic thing to come along to get experience just delivering suggestions and seeing how people respond to hypnotic phenomena, because that's something that hypnotherapists especially and fairly frequently aren't trained in. It's like, you're learning hypnotherapy, right? Here's your script for smoking, here's one for anxiety, here's one for stress, and here's this technique, and you can have another technique, and this one's cool too. There's one thing missing there, and that is the thing that's right in the middle and that informs all of the other things, and that's creating suggestions. If you're a hypnotherapist, if you're a hypnotist of any kind, you need to be able to get people to do stuff in hypnosis without having to read the manual. It comes with time. I used scripts when I started out. Full disclosure, everyone uses scripts when they first start out. But you ideally need to at least know why the things in the script are there, and why you're saying them to these people, and why they're having those results or not having those results. Hey, who knows? And be able to replicate those similar things without a script if you need to, because what if you need to do some hypnosis with someone and your scripts blow away in the wind? Oh, fuck, I can't hypnotize them now. So it's a really good idea to know how to just deliver suggestions. And sometimes, especially with direct suggestion hypnosis, it is as simple as just telling them what you want them to do. So to get a lot of practice doing that, stage and street hypnosis course on the 3rd and 4th of December. fantastic weekend. Feel free to come along. There is a link on my website, which is rory-z.com. I don't think I put the link here, but you can get to it. The rapid induction training link is up, so feel free to click through that and you'll find that other course as well. I'm going to look for more questions and sing it. I don't know why I said that in a sing-song voice. Hopefully, Simon, that answered your question about how to test depth of trance. Test it by testing it. Luca, thanks. Simon, the rapid induction course next Saturday sounds very interesting. Look forward to seeing you there. Fantastic. See you there, Simon. John Murphy. Hi, Rory. It skipped again. Hi, Rory. We met in London last September. Any experience in the field of past life regression? If so, what are the chances of a seminar on that? John from Lancashire. Past life regression is very interesting. It's not something that I'm particularly going to talk about in great detail right now, but wait. That's much better. Past life regression, for some people, is a great thing. You know, as a hypnotist, as a hypnotherapist, some hypnotherapists love it. Others go, oh, past life regression, that's a little woo-woo for me. You know, either way is absolutely fine. If you're doing past life regression, or actually if a client wants past life regression, then it may be that is going to be a useful experience for that client. And if they believe that that's going to work, because, you know, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if they're going in believing that if you hypnotize them, they have a past life experience, it might help them to work towards resolving their problems, that may be a good thing. Your belief about past life regression doesn't necessarily matter too much. You know, I'm not personally a believer in past lives. You know, it's not something that fits in with my ideology. That doesn't stop me from using a past life regression if I need to as a tool to help a specific client. And in terms of a seminar on that, it's something that I'll consider. Spoiler alert, it's actually a secret, I haven't told anyone yet, I'm redoing my entire website and branding, and I'm going to be offering some different stuff. Shh, don't tell anyone, it's not ready. But when that's all going ahead, when that's up and running, past life regression is probably something that I might touch on if I get enough people asking for it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. If I get a few more people asking about it, then I may do something on it. But if you know how to do regression, it's not much of a jump to doing past life regressions. So you'll be set in good stead if you know how to do regressions already. Hopefully, John from Lancashire, that helps. And keep your eyes peeled. Sophie Gatner again. Regarding instant hypnosis, is it the surprise factor which is behind the instant sleep state? Mostly, yes. So with instant hypnosis, you've got three distinct types of, or categories of, rapid induction or instant induction. And you've got shock inductions, you've got pattern interrupt inductions, you've got confusion inductions. The latter two don't necessarily rely fully on surprise, although surprise may be an element of that type of induction. Shock induction, surprise is key. As a great example, a lot of people say to me on the rapid induction course, when we do the 8-word induction, and fundamentally, I'm going to teach you this right now. You don't need to come to the course. I'll teach you it now. The 8-word induction consists of 8 words, strangely enough. Press on my hand, close your eyes, sleep. Those are the 8 words in the 8-word induction. And the idea is you get them to press on your hand, and you drop the hand, and it creates a shock. People say, well, especially for people you've hypnotized before, why does that still work? Because they know it's 8 words, and they know that when you said the 7th one, you're then going to shock them. And the moment of surprise, or as Sophie says, the surprise factor, is something that you can tweak and that you can change, even without changing the words. You can change the pacing. So instead of just saying it straight away, press on my hand, close your eyes, sleep. You know, for someone who's never experienced it, that'll work fantastically well. If you've hypnotized them that way before, you might tweak it a little. So press on my hand. Now close your eyes. Wait for it. Sleep. So the timing there is going to be what's different, and the timing is going to be what shocks them at that point. So with shock inductions, you really do need a genuine shock or surprise for it to be as effective as possible. Also bear in mind that even though, when you're doing like a rapid induction course, obviously everyone knows what it is that you're doing. And it still works really well when you're practicing rapid inductions on your fellow classmates, because they don't know when it's going to happen. And even better, when you're hypnotizing someone who's not a hypnotist or someone you've not hypnotized before, they have no idea what's coming. They're already probably in a state of tension because they're like, oh my God, they're going to hypnotize me. They're taking my hand. What am I meant to do now? And they've got all this stuff running through their head. So when you give them a shock, it's even more of a shock. And that's why shock inductions are so quick and really, really effective. You've got confusion inductions and you've got pattern interrupt inductions as well. So like the butterfly fingers induction, the idea is to overload that person, and you can add a shock in as well, and that can make it even more effective. But what you're really looking to create there is a genuinely confused state. So getting them to, follow your fingers, or getting them to count backwards from 3 million, subtracting 4 and 7 from each number that they count down while tapping their leg on the floor and spinning their hands clockwise and counterclockwise as you click, click, click. All of those, it confused me just talking about that. All of those things, if you're getting people to do them, they will get to a point where it's too much and their brain just goes, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. And it's when you see that look in their eye that they kind of glaze over, like rabbit in the headlights kind of look, that you give them an irresistible suggestion. Here's your way out of this situation: sleep. And they do. And it's such a nice thing. And it's a really good type of induction, confusion inductions, to use with analytical people, because they don't get the opportunity to overanalyze the hypnosis process. They're too busy being confused. Finally, the pattern interrupt induction, which basically is the handshake induction. There are, I know James Brown, another great hypnotist, he's developed the high five pattern interrupt induction. The idea is you're interrupting an unconscious pattern, something that people will just naturally do. You put your hand out to shake hands and they will put their hand out without thinking about it. And then you interrupt that. That does, to some extent, create a bit of a shock because they're not expecting that to happen. But it's also confusing as well. So that's a combination, I would say. But yeah, I think shock or surprise factor, as you put, Sophie, is definitely something that is important, if not necessary, for all rapid inductions. You're generally going to find a little sprinkling of it in the confusion and pattern interrupt ones. Hopefully that answered your questions, Sophie. I haven't got any more questions. I'm going to go back to a question that I was asked earlier by email, which is from Daniel Sinclair, which I'm pretty sure I just saw him pop up somewhere. Hi Daniel, if you're here. Hi if you're watching later. If you have, do you have a good pendulum that you recommend for hypnosis? Please let me know. I've tried a few pendulum purchases online, also pocket watches, but haven't found them to be very suitable. Daniel's there. Hiya, fantastic. This is a pocket watch, right? It's shiny. It looks lovely, right? It doesn't work, but I've had it for a while. And I think, to be fair, I got this one on Amazon as well. It's just that you could probably find the same thing on Amazon yourself. I have it on a piece of string or a necklace rope rather than a chain. No idea why, I just had one laying about, so I thought I'd put that on there. I also like holding it a bit more than a chain, and I find that I can, as it's a fairly long piece of cord, I can change it to how much I need it to swing. So if I need it to swing quite far out in order to get someone's eyes really going left and right quite far, that works quite nicely. Or I can have it a little bit shorter and you get less of a swing, but it tends to be a bit quicker as well. So that's just about the thing that's attached to the watch or to the pendulum. It really doesn't matter what is on the end of it, so long as it's heavy enough for it to swing and get that momentum moving from side to side. If I did it with this other end that's got a knot on it, I try and swing it, it doesn't do a lot because it doesn't weigh enough. So ideally, if you can get something that is at least heavy enough to get that swinging motion, that works fantastically. Whether it is a watch, whether it is a crystal or a ball or a stone, you don't have to use a pocket watch. Although sometimes, and especially if you're a hypnotherapist, you will have a client who says, where's your pocket watch? Because that's how you're going to hypnotize me, right? And if you don't have one, then you go, well, actually, no, I hypnotise people in a different way. Might break rapport. Whereas if you just have this stuck in your drawer, it costs me like a £5 or £10 or something like that. It doesn't have to be solid gold, only fools and horses style pocket watch. If you've got one, you can then break it out and say, yeah, actually, I will hypnotise you with my pocket watch. Fantastic. Or my pendulum. And the premise of hypnotising, if you don't know, hypnotising someone with a pocket watch is not something I teach on my rapid induction course, because I don't bring a whole bunch of pocket watches for everyone to practice with. But basically the premise is it's an eye fixation induction. You take your pocket watch and you take it to above their eye level, so they have to look up in order to look at the watch, and it begins to strain their eyes. And you give them suggestions that their eyes will become tired, and as they're watching the watch, they will try to keep their eyes open, and the more they try, the more they'll just want to close, and that will carry on. And especially if you're swinging the watch from side to side, obviously they're looking up and then they're looking from side to side. Try that now, if you can, safely. Like look up to, not right up to the top of your head, but just look up to a point where it's maybe not necessarily too comfortable, then look from side to side and see how quickly your eyes just become tired. The idea with that induction is just, you can stop now. The idea with that induction is to just get their eyes so tired that they want to close them. And by doing that, they're following your suggestions. And then when you go on to have them close their eyes, you can throw your pocket watch away, not the client preferably, and carry on with your deepening procedures. But I realise I kind of didn't give you a recommendation for a pocket watch. My very first pocket watch I bought from Camden Town Market in London. And I think that was fairly cheap as well. So I don't know if they still do them. There's loads of little jewellery and trinket stores down there. If you're around London, you might find something cool. I had a really nice one. It wasn't this style with the opening front face that does that. So if you want one that people can actually see the face of the watch, because people think that's quite hypnotic rather than just seeing a closed one, although that's quite nice, it's reflective, it catches the light off of things as well, it can be useful. But I had one that was really cool, fairly small, and just had the clock face but had a spiral inside it. I'm pretty sure that was from Camden as well. So loads of different options. Hopefully, Daniel, that helps maybe in some way with your quest for a pocket watch. I have no more questions. I'm just going to be quiet now until a question comes up. I got a thumbs up for being quiet. I get that a lot, especially at home. Yeah, my wife's over there. She's putting her thumb up for me being quiet. Feel free to put more questions in, or I'm just going to have to... there's one. Tom Kerman. I went to school with Tom Kerman, right? Hey Rory, good to see you, mate. Thought I'd pop by and support your live stream. Keep doing great things in the world of hypnosis. Not really a question, Tom. Thanks for nothing. No, thanks for coming. It's great to see you, man. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. That's the most important thing, right? Caroline Chapman, thank you for tonight. It's not over yet, unless there's no more questions, in which case it is over. I'm just going to tell you one more time about my rapid induction course that's happening next Saturday. Whilst anyone's typing out some questions, feel free to do that. Rapid induction training, London Embankment. It's right next to the tube. It's opposite the London Eye, and it's next to the Houses of Parliament. There's so much stuff that you can see. And it's a 5-star hotel as well. Can't be better. It's a fantastic venue. It's on the 17th of September. I'll be there. Some of the guys who've been asking questions will be there, and girls, obviously. And it's a massive opportunity to get loads of practice doing hypnosis, which is missing on so many courses. And especially if you're doing training online, or if you just read books and watched YouTube videos, things like that, so important to actually go and hypnotize people. But if you've never done it before, if you've only done it a couple of times, it can be quite, sometimes quite tricky to go, right, I'm just going to go outside and hypnotize someone on the street. I'm just going to go around my friend's house and hypnotize their friend, and you're like, well, is it going to work? I haven't really practiced it enough to know if it is going to work. Some people will just go out and do that and fuck it up a couple of times and do it until it does work. That's how I kind of got started. Even then, sometimes I need to push in the right direction. So rapid induction training course is a really good chance to get that push in the right direction, to see that what these techniques can do, and how you can use these techniques really does work. So hopefully that will inspire you to come along and join me on the 17th of September. The trains are running. Yes! Get the train if you want to. Get the train if you don't want to. Hey, fuck it. I swear more in person. Simon. Yes. Hi, Simon again. Simon Grint. You mentioned about a stage hypnosis course later this year. Is that in London? Yes, it is. It's on the 3rd and 4th of December, Saturday, Sunday, right before Christmas. So you can come into London and do your Christmas shopping in between. You could hypnotise people at the shops and steal their stuff. No, don't do that. And that's definitely in London. Yes, it is. So hopefully, Simon, that helps. And as you said in another comment, yes, practice makes perfect. It's very true. It's kind of like if you learn hypnosis from a book. Like if you learned how to drive from a book and you hadn't stepped in a car and you thought, right, I'm going to learn to drive. Here's a great book. I'll read this up. I'll look at that online course as well. Fantastic. I've done those online courses. I've read my book. Now I'm going to do my driving test. How well do you think that test will go, having never stepped in a car and actually done it? Same with hypnosis. It is a skill. It's something that anyone can learn. But to learn it, you need to practice. Practice is so important. Caroline Champion, separate question if allowed. Do you do supervision for people who have trained elsewhere? Why, yes. Yes, I do. I don't have a sneaky link thing for that, but you can click on that rapid induction link that hopefully you can see there somewhere on the screen, and that will take you through to my website, and you go to the courses section and one-to-one training. But also, I'm going to multitask somehow right now and pop a comment. There you go, in the comments, and that is a link to my one-to-one courses, but that also includes mentoring and supervision, and you can do that either in person or you can do it in 15-minute chunks on Zoom, on the phone, on WhatsApp, whatever you want. And I'm more than happy to help people. I've trained hypnotherapists or helped trained hypnotherapists to fill in the blanks and to further their skills and to get to where they need to be, regardless of where you've trained before. I have no prejudices about where anyone has trained. I just want to make sure, for me personally, as a trainer and as someone who does hypnosis myself, that people are out there doing the right stuff, that they're doing it well, and that they're making a difference with people and not sending clients away going, not sure if that hypnotherapy worked, right? We want results. We can get results if you know how to do it. So feel free, anyone, if you want to come along for some mentoring with me, that link is in the chat, or just visit my website, and we can hook something up. Oh yeah. I think that's all the questions again, is it? Caroline said thanks. Oh yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say if there are no questions. Well, that looks like it. Unless a question comes in last minute. Well, I was planning on doing this till 9 o'clock. We've got 3 minutes left, but I'm happy to end it early. If you have no more questions, I'm just going to stand here. I'm ready. Okay, let's wrap it up. So, hopefully you have enjoyed this Facebook Live. Feel free to give me a little thumbs up if you think I should do it again sometime, just so that I can see that it's been beneficial for people. And I will hopefully see you at a rapid induction course, which is coming up on the 17th of September, or in Edinburgh in December, on the 10th of December, or my stage hypnosis, a street hypnosis course, which anyone can come to. You don't have to be a stage or street hypnotist. You don't even have to want to do stage or street hypnosis in order to come along and have a bit of fun and get confident practicing hypnosis. So feel free to join any of those events. I'll be more than happy to see you. Oh my God, there's a question. It's Simon. How many people do you expect at the training course? Usually in times where petrol and diesel don't break your wallet and the electric companies aren't doing whatever the fuck they're doing right now, I tend to expect between 30 to 40 people on the course. Currently, in the current climate, I think I've got 11 or 12 people signed up for next weekend, so there's plenty of room and plenty of people for you to get lots of practice with. I'm sure there'll be a few more as well by next weekend. So hopefully, Simon, that answers your question, and that just about wraps up this evening. If you have any further questions, feel free to either comment below or visit my website, which is rory-z.com, and I'll see you on a course very soon. But until then, have a lovely evening, have a lovely weekend, have a lovely rest of your year, have a lovely rest of your life, and maybe I'll see you at some point. But in the meantime, go and hypnotize some people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.